Guys and Dolls is, for my money, the most classic and best loved of all of the older musical comedies, and it's was based on this very famous writer from the Depression, actually. His name was Damon Runyon, and he wrote these stories about these Broadway lowlifes, and his kind of gist of these characters was there were all these lowlifes, and by lowlifes I don't mean awful people, I mean gangsters, showgirls, all talking like they're philosophy students in elevated ways, and they were very humorous and kind of elevated the country, you know, out of the Depression.
You go ahead, girls. Order me a tuna fish on rye and a chocolate sundae.
It's basically the story of Sarah Brown, who is a Salvation Army mission doll who is trying to convert Broadway, the street in New York, and she, through a series of events, becomes the pawn in a bet between Sky Masterson, who is the highest betting gangster in New York, and Nathan Detroit, who is the guy who sets up all of the crap games. As it happens in these things, he ends up falling in love with her. Basically the story of how people from different walks of life can fall in love with one another. You're going to know every song in the show in a good way. Sometimes that's not good, but in this it's great. Every song is a hit, which this is what we strive to work on these kinds of shows. You never have to fluff up anything. It's all there for you. Great music, and we have a full orchestra. It's going to sound great. I wear multiple hats, which is fun. I love doing both because it allows to have one vision, and a lot of times you kind of see where the choreographer begins and the director begins, and you know, when you wear both hats, you can blur that line and make it very seamless. I am a local. I grew up in Grafton, Ohio, out west of Cleveland, but I came all the time to see shows at Playhouse Square Center when I was a kid, and never dreamed that I would ever come back and be able to work here, especially at the Hannah Theater. I think I saw Annie on tour here when I was a kid, and many other shows, and now to be doing a show here, it's just, it's humbling, and being here, it's you know, a mind trip actually down memory lane. So it's so nice to be back.
Good old Sky.
Oh, why don't you borrow 1,000 from Sky?
Not Sky. With him, that kind of money ain't lending money, it's betting money.
The costumes for this particular show, Guys and Dolls, are a great deal of fun. It's one of my favorite periods. It's 1949, 1950s, and so you've got the Dior new look, you've got lots of fluff, you've got sexy ladies, you've got sassy, sexy guys dancing around, so it's just colorful and fun, and the movement's great, so it's one of my favorite things to do. The renderings for the show are some of my favorites that I've ever done. We did a lot of research on the artist Vargas and based some of the costumes, especially for the Hotbox girls, on his pinup girls of the 30s, 40s, 50s. And I really tried to emulate his style when doing these sketches, and what was really fun was doing the watercolor and the drawings of them, just to get that spirit of sassy young ladies having fun, and then having that help tell the story of the costumes, because then an actor will look at that sketch and see what fun they can have with the clothes they're wearing. I have a few favorite costumes. I'm particularly fond of Adelaide's wedding dress. It's just a delightful confection. When doing a show like Guys and Dolls, you really have to take into consideration the choreography and the movement. Dan Connectus, our director choreographer, is an old friend of mine. We've been working together since 2001, so I'm very familiar with the kinds of movement he asks his dancers to do. There's leaps, there's somersaults, there's so much athleticism that we need to make sure the clothes are able to accommodate that in ways that will make them look like it's nothing at all to them. There's about 100 costumes in the show. Some of our ladies have 5 or 6 costume changes each. The guys, I would say, have 5 or 6 each for the chorus members. Our principals have 1 or 2 for the men, and then the ladies, Adelaide has quite a few. Well, she's Adelaide after all, so. It's really exciting, a project like this where the team are dear friends of mine and the cast is so wonderful, they're so talented and a group of nice people. A night like tonight is something that's so fun to look forward to and just finally get to relax after 2 straight weeks of very, very hard work.